The life of a pet is a charmed one, at least when your owner is kind and benevolent as a rule. But what if you lived in the home of a giant arachnid 10 times your size? Would you still want belly rubs and walks in the park? Such is the life of the dotted humming frog. But sometimes a large and scary defender is not something you can afford to turn away in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy, your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of this theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify. I keep saying this instead of the.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at LD Taxonomy, or visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse, Tristan Taylor, Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, and Richard Kaspar. Thank you for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. I keep on swallowing my L's when I say some of these names.
You can say them in any order you want. You don't have to say them in a particular order.
I say them in the order that they signed on.
Well, and today we're talking about the familiar of a ferocious female, but more on that later.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a spirit summon.
Yeah.
To handle the housekeeping. That's my new Elden Ring mod. Is I just need somebody to change the baby's diapers. Can I summon Elmer of the Briar?
Your Elden Ring mod will bring a spirit summon into real life. That's some serious modding.
Yes, it's AR. It's augmented reality. It's the new Pokemon Go. But yeah, we're talking about the dotted humming frog.
That's not the last syllable you thought it would be, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a humming frog.
Yeah, humming frog.
Yeah.
It's also, we're going to call it here the free toader.
Nice.
Fury toad. And the spider house rules.
Good.
Are you kidding me? That's a great one. I just thought of it
I only vaguely
a
know.
minute and a half ago.
I don't know what the reference is.
It's a reference to the movie Cider House Rules.
No, I don't. I've never seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but I don't think it has very much to do with the the plot of that movie, but it works because that's what we're going to talk about. Spider House.
When you live under my roof, you live by my rules. That's what the spider says.
I'm sure that's exactly how that conversation goes.
Yeah.
Whenever you live with a spider, they're always trying to enforce their rules on you. They're dogmatic rules.
Tobey Maguire's in this. Maguire man. Hey, there's your connection. Tobey Maguire's
there's
in
your
that
Spider
movie.
House
Yes.
rules.
Tobey Maguire's in it, and then he's Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm playing the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and it's so good. I love the PlayStation Spider-Man games. Anyway, let's taxonomize this frog. The kingdom is in one you know, love, and are in. That kingdom is Animalia. Phylum is Chordata. Class is Amphibia. This is a frog. The order is Anura. And that's all true frogs. The family is Microhylidae. The genus is Chiasmocles. And the species is Ventrimaculata. So Chiasmocles, Ventrimaculata.
Chiasmocles
is the nomenclature. No, it's definitely Chiasmocles.
Yes.
Since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, nitty-gritty nomenclature. My friend and brother in Christ, Joey. Can we please stop doing the frogs? We already know what their critter groups is. We already got that. And now I'm like scrounging the internet for Latin and Greek translations. As punishment, this is going to be a toughie of a nomenclature for you. I think. Chiasmoclice ventrimaculata. What does that mean? I should just say, tell me what it means. But no, it's not fill in the blank. It's multiple choice. Does it mean A, crossing key stomach blotch? B, chaotic perfect flank? C, 20 flaws with the sky?
What?
D, chasm of window spots.
20
Having
flaws
fun yet?
With the sky. Give me the first two again.
Crossing key stomach blotch and chaotic perfect flank.
So you had a good time making up lists of random words for 3 of these.
That is not true. I did not have a good time.
21
No.
guns salute in the sky? Is that what you said?
20 what?
Yeah.
20 what guns? 20 flaws with the sky. Or a sky of 20 flaws, you could say either one.
You know what? Whatever. My gut is going with the 20 flaws with the sky, so let's do it that one. Final answer.
Is that your final answer?
Mm-hmm.
That is incorrect. The answer is crossing key stomach blotch.
Was it the first one?
Yeah,
that was my second
that was
choice.
the first one. How could you not get that? How could you not understand what chiasmoclice ventrimaculata means?
Just a list of words.
A ventrimaculata sounds tasty though. Oh no, I this is not a random list of words. I was trying to pull what I would guess based on that, like just of my super rudimentary knowledge of Latin and Greek.
And none of these are really like sparking joy, and by that I mean making me think of anything.
Well, chiasmus is like a crossing. So I also went with chasm and chaotic, maybe throwing you off. Cleese or clace is Greek for keys. And there's ventrimaculata. So ventri sounds like venti, which is 20 in Latin. So I went with that. Also ventral, which is like the side, like your flank. So with that, or like also ventana in Spanish is window. So I went with window spots. And then maculata sounds like immaculate. So maybe flaws or spots or perfect.
So what does ventri actually mean?
Ventri means stomach. It's actually not flank. It is like a ventral. It's your stomach. And then maculata is, well, maculus or maculos is blotch or large spot.
It does sound like I want a ventri maculata, but I make it decaf because it's afternoon.
Yeah, decaf ventrimaculata, please. Hold the chiasmoclice. So yeah, that's what that means. If second frog in
right,
3 weeks.
You know,
second frog to the right, straight on till morning.
For this particular one, I could have gone one of 2 ways, and I thought this way was better, considering last week's episode. But we'll talk about that later.
All right.
What's it look like?
You want to talk about what this guy looks like?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He is a wet brown frog with the build of a poison dart boy. He has that pointed snout and upright posture, has shiny skin, and it's a dark brown with cream-colored flecks on its back and cream-colored blotches. Blotch. We're right back to that blotchiness on its stomach. Kind of like Rorschach from Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is supposed to make them look like the blotchiness of fallen leaves in a pond, so give them a bit of camouflage. That's really, I mean, if you're picturing like a poison dart frog that has dark brown skin and like white flecks all over it, you've got this guy. Like you got it pegged. Wikipedia says they have no nostrils absent, which is a really weird thing to point out. Like, listen, we know you've read about a lot of frogs, but this frog isn't missing any of its nostrils.
Oh, so like I guess that there are other frogs that have absent nostrils?
Absent nostrils, I suppose. No nostrils absent. There are so many nostrils and none of them are absent. It's just a really weird way to to phrase this. Because if they're missing nostrils, that must be an accident. If they don't have nostrils by design or by adaptation, then they're not missing them.
Yeah.
They're just not there.
That is a weird way to phrase it. Absence is a strange word in this situation.
Yeah, even animals that have clearly adapted out of certain things like those salamanders that don't have eyes, that clearly used to have eyes. I still wouldn't say that their eyes, like this salamander has absent eyes.
Its
eyes are absent.
Eyes. I would see now. It would be definitely way weirder to have said, "This frog has nostrils." That would have been like, yeah, okay.
No, it wouldn't be weird if it started that sentence with, unlike many other frog species or other frog species in its genus, this one has nostrils.
That's more information. If you have to choose between phrasing it as a positive or phrasing it as a negative, it makes more sense to say it is not missing any nostrils.
No, it doesn't. What I said makes the most sense.
Well, that's what makes the most sense. But if you're working with a single clause in this sentence, that's a 2-clause sentence. That's more.
Then you've written yourself into an unwinnable situation. You need to rewrite your whole paragraph there. But what I want you and for the audience to understand, and if I just really want to communicate this. This one isn't missing any nostrils.
Good.
As long as we get that, then I think I've made my point. But yeah, it's also a very small frog. But how small is it, Joe?
Well, welcome to the Love Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show, the part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms to a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week.
I don't. My second oldest is not at the age where she can say measure up yet, so I guess that'll be the next one.
I'm
not ready.
It's
on the mantle.
I'm not strong enough. I'd like to go back into the archives and listen to another one from the archives, because
all right,
that's easier than finding an animal and coming up with fake ones.
Oh, it's the lazy man's option here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. I just realized He's not saying measure up at all. He's saying yes. That's what that means.
Yeah, he's saying yes. Yeah, that's a bad one.
No,
I don't
like
know.
it.
I don't know
very
what
animated
like
in that.
crazy person sent that, but
Well, we're only halfway through. Could there be a measure up at the end of this?
I don't think so.
But I do like his vocalizations. They're quite animated and fun. He's losing his mind, and you're collecting content.
At his expense.
Yeah, that's cheap.
But he lives in my house at my expense, so there's that.
Yeah, that was Yoshi, and I guess Morph was there too, probably, because I could hear
Most definitely.
Different
the
sounding
shrill shriek of that dog.
the shrill shriek of that dog. Well, give Yoshi an extra treat from on the podcast dime. Not that everyone who sends in a measure up will get a treat. We don't have that kind of Scooby snack budget.
Yeah, so subscribe to our Patreon so that we could have a Yoshi snack budget. We need to pay for Yoshi's glucosamine so that his hip arthritis doesn't act up.
Yeah, every time we get a measure up, Yoshi the dog will get an extra treat. Maybe that will motivate everyone.
We need to make this like sending in a measure up a moral imperative.
Yeah. In fact, Yoshi doesn't eat unless we get a measure up.
Once a week, if we get that measure up, then I will put a bowl of food in front of him. Otherwise, we chain him to the fence.
Yeah.
That's not true. Yoshi is loved and fed. Too much. He's fed a little bit too much. He's a chubby potato.
He is a potato. A potato, and his brother is a sneeze. Let's talk about length. There are 0.7 inches, or 2 centimeters. How many dotted humming frogs go into the length of a dire horse on Pandora?
Those are called dire horses?
I guess. Here's a hint.
That's a dumb name.
Yeah, well, it's a dumb animal. The dire horse is a fictional animal from the Avatar universe. It is essentially an ugly horse that sounds exactly like the raptors from Jurassic Park 3.
It's essentially just an ugly horse with like 4 eyes and 6 legs. It looks like a Pokemon, actually. Looks like a water horse.
I think the idea for Avatar was initially like this whole world is going to look a little bit more like the underwater world. Like it's going to look like animals from underwater. Because even the banshees look a little fishly, like an eel almost in the face. But then he was just like, let's stop messing around. Let's make some plot contrivances so that we can actually get in the water. Like where I want it to be.
You don't need a plot contrivance to go underwater. You just go,
Yeah, but you need a plot contrivance to like take your jungle environment and move it to the ocean biome. And he made it happen.
He did make it happen. And
so
guess what? Almost everything looks the same except for it's underwater.
So how many of these frogs go into this jingle horse?
The length of Super Horse?
Yeah.
Of Bad Horse? Crazy Horse?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Horse. That's better than Dire Horse.
What's like dire wolf?
That's probably that's what the humans call it. I'm like, is that really what the Na'vi call the horse?
No way.
It's a dire horse.
I don't think. But banshees is what
call it.
The Na'vi don't call banshees either.
I can't remember what they call them.
Some nonsense word.
All words are made up. that didn't come out right because you didn't say it's made up. All right. So, I mean, it looks to be about the size of like a small horse, like a, or no, like a regular sized horse.
For a big human.
Oh, that's true. They are. Once it switches over to just the blue avatars, I forget that they're like 11 feet tall. So it's like, oh, all this stuff is just normal size. Like, no, everything's bigger. All right, so we're gonna go with. I'm gonna go with 12 feet.
12 feet?
Yes. It's 144 inches. 205 dotted humming frogs.
Final answer.
Going to Avatar Horse. Yeah.
The correct answer is 240 frogs.
That is not. That does not seem like a nursing school victory to me.
The big horse is 14 feet long.
It is a nursing school victory. I get an 85%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ever question my knowledge of Avatar again.
Let's see if you can. Oh, we're going from something you're interested in to something you're not. Let's talk tadpole length. The length of the tadpoles with the tail.
Oh, is this going to be football? It's going to be football.
0.6 inches. They're only a little bit shorter with the tail than their adult form. That's 17 millimeters. How many tadpoles go into the length that Patrick Mahomes threw for in the 2023 Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles?
I knew it was going to be a football thing, considering the Super Bowl was 2 days ago.
Here's a hint. Mahomes completed 21 of the 27 passes he threw for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He also ran for 44 yards despite an ankle injury. I'll give you 5% towards your nursing school victory if you can tell me the score of the Super Bowl.
It's in sevens, right?
A touchdown is 6 points, and you can choose to kick an extra point for 7 or go for a 2-point conversion for 2 extra points. You can also score.
Or you can kick a field goal for 3, right?
Yes, and you can also score 2 points, I think, for a safety. The 2 or 1 point.
It's too many rules. It's confusing.
Safety's rare.
Let's go back to soccer, you know? It's just 1 point you can get, right? All right, so I don't actually mean that. Soccer is not as interesting to me as football, and football is not interesting in the first place. How far he threw in one go?
No.
Or total?
His total yardage of completed passes. So usually when you hear like Patrick Mahomes threw for blah, blah, blah yards, they're saying...
Okay, I'm going to assume the average is 20.
So there's...
And you said 21 completed passes. So we're going to do... That's up 420 yards. That's yards. So we were trying to find... It's 1,200 feet. 1,260 feet. 15,000 inches... 25,200 frogs or tadpoles worth of football throwing occurred from Mahomes.
Final answer?
Yes.
The correct answer is that Patrick Mahomes threw for 100.
Oh, wait. The score was...
Oh, yeah.
40 to 38.
No. That's close. It's 38 to 35.
Was it? Oh. And who won?
Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes did.
Okay. Okay.
The correct
Good for him,
answer
I guess.
is that Patrick Mahomes threw for 10,920 frogs. or 182 yards.
So is 20 yards a long throw? Was that like that must have been way off. He must have thrown a lot of short passes.
I guess 20 yards would be a decent average. Would be pretty decent for an average. But you can throw like the people have thrown for much longer than that. But that's a
right. That's why I wanted to.
Play.
But then also they pass it like really. They throw it like 5 yards or something like that. So
yeah.
I figured 20 was an average, and he threw 21 completions. So I needed to make my average like 10 yards to be close.
That would have probably been better. Yeah, more accurate.
I expected too much from Mahomes.
You got through it.
I did. All right. Are you ready for some fast facts before we get to the major fact?
Sure.
The dotted humming frog lives in the western Amazon. So that's Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, and western Brazil. It eats ants and mites, but more on that later. And during mating season, the frogs will lay their eggs in a pond. During the mating season and the rainy season are the same. And the rainy season in a rainforest is very rainy. So there's lots of ponds. 36 hours after fertilization. I found this really interesting and really weird. I wish I could have found a video of it. But 36 hours after fertilization, the tadpoles will hatch, and all of them will float vertically and completely motionless for a day. So under the water, they will, with their heads up and tails down, just float there suspended, staring at the sky like they're the ever brilliant gold mask from Elden Ring for 24 hours, all of them. And then after that point, they will shift to a 45-degree angle for another 24 hours. All of them facing the same direction. This must be really creepy. And then after that, they'll start to move and swim around. But that must be really creepy to see 350 or so tadpoles floating motionless in the water, all facing the same direction, like they're part of some sort of trance cult. And they're just like hypnotized by the sun or something like that. And then at some point, they just all shift from a 90-degree to a 45-degree angle. I don't know if it's unison or randomly, but that was what the research paper mentioned. And it's like, man, that's got to be weird to look at. And then 3 weeks after hatching, the tadpoles will have morphed into little froglets, and then they will leave the pond. They'll lose their tail and be full-grown adults. And being so tiny, 2 centimeters. That's a very tiny little frog. It's like the coqui from Puerto Rico, just this tiny frog. They need to keep an eye out for pretty much everything. Large spiders, caimans, although I don't understand why a caiman would, maybe a baby caiman. Like this tiny frog isn't a meal for a caiman. It also is to look out for crabs, dragonflies, birds, snakes, and turtles. If only, with so many predators out there, if only there was some way for them to defend themselves against predators. But I'm sure they're just at the mercy of all that Mother Nature has to throw at them. Right, Joe?
Yep. Anyway, next time on LDT, we'll talk about something else.
Next time on Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
As if we've ever finished an episode like that. Okay.
Or we should start the next episode with previously on LD Taxonomy.
We talked about that. Sounds like editing work.
That sounds like work.
Let's talk major fact. I'm calling this major fact friends in low places. So, the dotted humming frog is the pet of a much bigger spider. like you mentioned. You mentioned spiders eat them. We'll get into that. So these small frogs have a commensal, if not mutualistic, relationship with big hairy tarantulas. I thought about doing the tarantula, but we've done tarantulas before. This is not one we've done, but it's a tarantula. And we did a spider last week, so we went to the small fry.
Oh, I see. Do you have what's the difference, or know the difference for commensurate and mutualistic?
We will get into it.
Okay, good. Because I don't know.
Researchers have observed the frogs living in the burrows of Colombian lesser black tarantulas. But they aren't just like muskrats that find their way into beaver dams. These frogs have been observed darting away from danger, not just into the spider holes, but underneath the tarantulas themselves. So like they'll run to safety amongst the legs of a tarantula.
It's a big bad bodyguard.
Yeah. So black tarantula females fiercely guard their burrows to protect their young. Frogs in those burrows have a guard that can take on other insects, small mammals, and snakes that would make a meal out of tiny little frogs. So the frogs rarely leave the burrows unless the tarantula ventures out first. So if the spider says the ghost is clear, the coast is clear, I never know which one that is.
Do you think the saying is the ghost is clear?
When I was a kid, I thought it was the ghost is clear, and then I feel like I learned about the coast is clear.
It's always been the coast is clear.
But
I'm
scared of ghosts.
That the ghost is clear.
If the ghost is clear, I can't see it. I don't have to think about it.
I feel like if the ghost is clear, you have a problem because now you can't see the ghost. You have an enemy. You have an invisible enemy out there. But if the coast is clear, then everything's all right. But no clear ghosts, please. I would like opaque ghosts or no ghosts at all. If you can actually leave the ghosts on the side, if you can do that. I don't know if that's part of the order.
So it's a thing. People think it's the ghost is clear. I realized the phrase "the coast is clear." It is the coast is clear, not the ghost is clear. And then there's another form that says it's a question form, and is it the coast is clear or the ghost is clear? And then somebody's like messing with the asker, saying it's the ghost is clear, like you can see through it because it's invisible and doesn't exist. So why don't these protective tarantulas eat these tiny little green morsels like other spiders do? So they've been observed investigating and picking up the frogs, but quickly spitting them out or dropping them, more accurately, as soon as they get a hold of them. So it's thought that this particular species of frog is poisonous or distasteful to tarantulas, or to this particular tarantula. So the spiders were tested to see if maybe they just don't eat frogs at all. But other species of frogs that you drop into this tarantula's terrarium will get eaten and gobbled up. So if the frogs,
as the dotted humming frog looks on in horror,
yeah, as its kind host is not so kind,
devours its kin.
Yeah. So if the frog gets protection and the tarantulas get nothing in return, that's commensalism. A commensal relationship is one where one species is neither harmed nor benefits, but the other one benefits.
Got it. So there's parasitism on one side, then commensalism, and then mutualism.
Yeah. But some researchers think the situation might be more mutually beneficial. So why would an aggressively protective spider tolerate a freeloader, even if they can't eat him? You'd think like...
You mean a free-toter?
Yeah. You'd think they would like drive them off or get rid of them somehow. But it's theorized that frogs are to spiders as cats are to us. They may serve to keep the place clear of pests. Frogs eat small insects that might pose a threat to spider eggs. While the spider defends the nest from large things, the frogs eat up small vermin the spider might overlook. So there's certain, like, ants and things like that would like to get a hold of some spider eggs, but the frog cleans house like a cat eating a mouse.
That rhymes.
Yeah. But that's what I got for that. It's that some people were saying this spider might be an example of domestication. They domesticated another species. No, they did not. They did not domesticate this frog. This is a happy accident. They did not make any changes to the frog.
A closer example of domestication would be ants and aphids.
Yeah, it's like sort of like
we talked about in the leaf farming episode. If you have a spider that's made a web in your house, as much as you might want to kill it, it's actually like eating the mosquitoes and stuff. So it's just like, okay, that's fine. You can be here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sleep knowing you're there, but at least I won't get bitten by mosquitoes.
Yeah, that's probably more like it, like a predator in your house that eats other pests. So technically, it's a mutual relationship because they get protection from the elements, and you get.
So do you think that when the frog runs away from a predator under the legs of this tarantula, it turns around and peeks out from under the legs of the tarantula and sticks its tongue out and puts its hands on its head and goes? Absolutely, it does. That was the cutest part of the video I saw. I was surprised at how self-aware they were of bullies.
Yeah. Bullies aware. They raise awareness of bullies.
And since they take care of the spider's eggs, it's nanny nanny boo boo. Right?
Yeah. One of them's doing the nanny nannying, the other one's doing the boo boo, scaring everything away.
That's actually it's when you have the two, you have the wet bandits, you have Harry and Marv, you've got Pinky and the Brain, you've got the big lug and the small brains, you got nanny nanny and boo boo.
Yeah, that's it.
And Boo Boo just stands there and just like punches his hand ready for battle, and Nanny just antagonizes all the snakes and turtles and stuff.
There was a video where they put a snake in an enclosure with a frog and a spider, and the spider grabbed it by the back. It was much bigger. But the spider grabbed it by the back of the neck and tried to pull it down into the tunnel.
The snake?
Yeah. Tarantulas are no joke.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I mean, it must be like a smaller snake, obviously. It's not going to be like a...
But still quite a bit
python.
Bigger than the tarantula.
Or an anaconda, I guess, is more... It's in the Amazon, so it's an anaconda. But, I mean, there's maybe like a small, like, rat snake or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tarantulas are no joke. Unless you are the tarantula hunting wasp. The tarantula wasp.
Then you just tell all the tarantula jokes all the time.
Yeah, then you're allowed to, that's punching down. You can't tell tarantula jokes if you're the tarantula wasp.
Literally, because you're flying. And stinging down.
Right. Yes, it's a sting. You're stinging down, not stinging up. All right, that's the dotted humming frog. So for you out there in Podcastia, check to see if the ghost is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're not missing any of your nostrils. and get hired as a live-in frog to take care of some giant spider's kids, probably bratty kids, like the dotted humming frog here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Oh, to
There
be
must
a
be some
tiny
serious,
frog.
like my dad can beat up your dad arguments in the spider
My spider
spider
mom.
household. That's why you have to come up with some spider house rules.
Yeah.
Unfury toad.
That awkward moment when your stepdad's a frog.